Look, we had a good run. What is going on, everybody? Tom Chattelbash here, and if you love movies and TV like I do, then rest assured you are in the right place, and without further ado, it is time to review the new serial killer movie, Psycho Killer, starring Georgina Campbell and James Preston Rogers. Now, Psycho Killer follows this police officer, played here by Georgina Campbell, whose husband is murdered by this serial killer, this Satan-worshipping serial killer, nicknamed the Satanic Slasher, and she makes it her duty, her life's purpose now, to track him across state lines in order to bring him to justice and prevent any further victims from feeling his wrath. Now, like a lot of people out there, I love me a good serial killer movie. They can be really fascinating and fun and exciting and thrilling, and I was particularly excited for this one despite a strange lack of marketing, which, between you and me, not really the best sign usually, because of writer Andrew Kevin Walker. And if you don't know who that is, this is the man who more recently wrote David Fincher's The Killer. He wrote Sleepy Hollow, which starred Johnny Depp, and he most famously wrote the movie Seven, which also comes to us from David Fincher, which is one of the most famous and revered serial killer movies of all time. So yeah, safe to say the man knows how to make a movie about a serial killer. Psycho Killer, unfortunately, is one of the biggest duds of 2026 so far, and it's a shame because on paper there was a lot of potential here, and with a writer like Andrew Kevin Walker, who certainly knows his way around a genre picture like this could have been a lot better than it actually was, and I was deeply disappointed with this one. Now, I will say this, that the two central performances from Georgina Campbell and James Preston Rogers, they're actually very strong here. I think Georgina Campbell is a really underrated actor. She was great in Barbarian. She was also very good recently in Cold Storage, the sci-fi comedy with her, Joe Keery, and Liam Neeson, and I think she gives a really dialed-in performance here. You feel her grief, her exhaustion, her sleep-deprived motivation. You feel that in every single frame of this movie, and I think she makes for a protagonist that you want to root for, even when she makes maybe not the smartest decisions. And James Preston Rogers, who plays the Satanic Slasher, the serial killer of the film, I think he's fantastic here. I think he deserves a far better movie than than he's in here. And I think that he's got that boomy, bone-chilling voice that can make your skin crawl. He's also got that physical intimidation down. He's very physically imposing in the frame, and I think he makes the most of what he's given. I think he elevates a lot of material, and it's just a shame that he wasn't given more to do, because this serial killer, there was a lot of potential here on paper that I feel like he could have been a lot more fascinating. He could have been a lot scarier for sure, and it just feels like a huge waste of potential. And as for the film itself, this comes to us from a director who this is his first feature film after doing some digging, and it really does show, because the big reason why I think this movie fails is because it has such a lack of style and panache to match Andrew Kevin Walker's script, where it really could have elevated that script. It really could have paired perfectly with that script, but instead it just comes across as very flat, uninspired, and it lacks the atmosphere and the dread and the claustrophobia that this movie should have, and it just simply doesn't. There are so many sequences where there was potential for some great jump scares that are completely wasted and underutilized. There are some set pieces that could have been a lot stronger, a lot more visceral and grisly, and for a movie that's R-rated, for a serial killer movie that's R-rated, it's strangely tame. I mean, there are a couple of sequences where it gets a little bit bloody, but a lot of the time you're like cutting away from the gore or something horrible and gruesome that the serial killer is doing, and it feels strange. It feels like a PG-13 tactic, which we shouldn't be getting here. I don't know if it was budget constraints or if it was some sort of artistic idea, but if it was the latter, it was the poor choice, because I think this movie needed that gruesomeness. It needed that visceral quality that really showed you just the gnarly things that this serial killer does and why people fear him and are terrified of him, and I just never really felt that here, despite, Rogers' great performance. And it's not every day that I'm watching a serial killer movie feeling extremely bored. I was bored out of my mind watching this movie, and this is a film that clocks in at an hour and a half, and somehow they made it feel like 2.5 hours. It feels stretched out somehow, clocking in at 90 minutes, and that's a feat in and of itself. But if I'm watching a serial killer and I'm bored, dude, what the fuck are we doing here? At the end of the day, could you do worse than Psycho Killer? Absolutely. There are far worse movies out there, but given the amount of potential that was here, that just wasn't fulfilled, it just makes me angry and frustrated, because this could have been so much better and so much more thrilling, and it's just a bummer. So in the end, I'm going to be giving Psycho Killer 1 out of 5 stars. I think Campbell and Rogers give game performances. It has a couple scenes that are interesting and actually tap into the potential of this premise and this conceit and this serial killer. But other than that, this is a really boring, lifeless, flat serial killer movie that doesn't add anything new to the genre. It's clearly trying to create a new horror icon, and it fails to do so, unfortunately. And it just... Man, it's a swing and a miss. Damn. But let me know in the comments what you think of this movie if you check it out this weekend. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you think it's just okay? Let me know down below. And until next time, everybody, I'm Tom Chattelbash, YouTube's most reliable movie critic.